You talked about human and nature conflicts. We've talked so much about what's wrong. Can you tell us a bit more about the hope that humans could actually provide?
I believe that the way forward is, of course, education, and particularly reaching the younger generations. So I just spent a week at an international school in Brunei giving talks and showing photographs and giving presentations about human-animal conflicts. And you see the kids, they're just mesmerized because children have this innate fascination with wildlife and wild animals. So to reach them with the message, they're also taking everything in. They're like a sponge at that age. And they were going home and they were telling their parents, they were telling their families, oh, did you know I learned today that we shouldn't ride elephants at zoos, or we shouldn't go to shows where they're using dolphins in them. And then through them, they can reach their family and they can reach their parents. So really, I think that we should focus much more on incorporating wildlife conservation in school curriculums.
In your opinion, talking to all these kids, talking to all these people and showing your work, is there a lack of care or a lack of awareness? Which is probably the bigger culprit with regards to the general public not conserving the environment the way that they should?
Wow, it's a great question. I think it's a combination of both. I think that a lot of people are just focused on putting food on the table, and we are living in a time of where there's a cost of living crisis, and people have so much to worry about. They worry about their job security. They worry about the cost of buying groceries. So to say to them, oh, maybe we shouldn't be riding elephants at zoos, it just wouldn't even register to them because they're so far removed from these situations. So that is something that we're definitely up against, is that people have so many problems now to deal with. But also, yeah, there is just a lack of awareness because these things aren't taught to people. So when I was in Thailand recently, and I was visiting some of these horrendous wildlife tourism attractions where they were forcing elephants to do tricks like play with hula hoops or kick footballs. And these elephants, they were covered in sores, they were malnourished, they were being hit with bull hooks to make them perform. And I was so shocked to see that they were just bringing in these groups of school children. So these school children, it was being normalized to them that this is how we should treat these magnificent animals. So yes, I really do think that we need to reach children to show them that elephants and other animals, they're not just commodities for us to exploit.
Well, Aaron, a lot of people I'm sure will be really interested to see your work. Is there any other projects that you have coming up that you're already working on, something you're excited about?
There's a couple of jobs that I'm in the middle of pre-production for. The first one is actually a really interesting, a tragic story about climate change. And now in Zimbabwe, some of their national parks, they're in the middle of a huge drought. And they think that this year up to 10,000 elephants might die because of climate change. So I'm going to be there in October. And I have been there when the park is experiencing droughts before, and it's just horrendous. You just see these elephants, which are skin and bones. They're so distressed. They're trying to find these water sources. You see elephants dying in front of you, taking their last breaths. And that was in years where it's not as catastrophic as it's going to be this year. So I'm bracing myself for that one, but hoping that through our work there that we're going to be able to do a big fundraiser, which will mean that we can pump more water holes throughout the park to help mitigate this crisis. And another job that I am doing is about, it's the largest animal sacrifice on the planet. And every 5 years in Nepal, they have a festival called Gadimai. And about 500,000 animals are killed in sacrifices, from cattle to goats to chickens. And it's just these huge fields of death where people are decapitating animals. So, I mean, I spoke about some of the mental challenges of doing this work, and these are going to be two of the hardest jobs that I've ever done.